Have you ever felt the sting of being ignored by someone you thought valued you? That silence, that sudden distance, it can shake even the strongest among us. But what if you could turn this experience into something powerful instead of chasing it? In today's video, we're diving into 8 Stoic-inspired steps to reclaim control over your emotions and find unshakable inner peace. These aren't tactics to win someone's attention. They're moves to elevate your self-worth and mental resilience. Through ancient Stoic philosophy, we'll discover the power of silence, the strength in emotional detachment, and the freedom of letting go. As we step through each principle, you'll feel the shift, from feeling ignored to feeling empowered. So stay with me, and by the end of this video, you'll have the tools to turn distance into strength. If this resonates, remember to like and subscribe for more on Stoic philosophy and personal growth. Let's get started. 1. Embrace the silence as your ally. When someone distances themselves, your first instinct may be to close the gap, to ask questions, to send that text, to somehow break through the silence. But Stoic wisdom teaches us something different. Instead of fearing silence, we embrace it. Think of silence not as a void, but as a space for reflection and growth. When you choose silence, you're making a powerful, conscious choice to protect your peace and build emotional resilience. Silence shifts the dynamic in any relationship, especially when someone's ignoring you. When you stop chasing, you send a clear message, not only to them, but also to yourself, that your self-worth doesn't hinge on someone else's attention. This act isn't about giving up or becoming passive. It's about recentering. Silence says, I respect myself enough to wait. I don't need to seek what isn't freely given. In Stoicism, silence is more than the absence of words. It's a way of holding on to inner peace and practicing emotional detachment. Each time you resist the urge to reach out, you strengthen your emotional armor. You're showing yourself and anyone observing that you are independent, that your happiness and calm are not swayed by someone else's choices. Moreover, silence is intriguing. By stepping back, you create space, and in that space, curiosity grows. People begin to notice when you stop being readily available. Silence invites them to question why you've pulled back and what's changed. In this way, silence becomes a strategy, a power move, an unspoken way of saying, I know my worth. Through silence, you're not abandoning the other person. You're simply choosing yourself over the endless need for validation. You're turning your attention inward, focusing on self-growth and fortifying your mind. Remember, in Stoic philosophy, peace and resilience come from within. No external person can disrupt that, unless you allow them to. So next time someone distances themselves, don't rush to fill the void with words or actions. Sit with the silence, lean into it. Use it as a tool to remind yourself of your strength, your worth, and your independence. In doing so, you're building a foundation of emotional resilience, one that remains steady, no matter who comes or goes. 2. Redirect your energy towards personal growth. When someone pulls away, it's easy to feel the pull toward them, an instinct to invest time and energy in understanding why they've distanced themselves, or to find a way to win back their attention. But Stoic philosophy teaches us a powerful shift. Instead of pouring energy into something outside your control, redirect that energy inward. This moment, this gap in attention, is a gift. It's your chance to focus on building yourself rather than clinging to someone else. Imagine this scenario as a fork in the road. You can either follow the path of worry, constantly looking back at what the other person is doing, or you can take the path of growth, which leads to something far greater. By focusing on your personal development, you're creating a stronger, more fulfilled version of yourself. Each time you resist the urge to reach out or check on someone who's ignoring you, you're choosing strength and self-discipline. Personal growth doesn't need to be complex. Start with small steps. Maybe it's returning to a fitness routine or picking up a skill you've always wanted to learn. Every step you take towards self-improvement reinforces your sense of self-worth, showing you that fulfillment doesn't rely on anyone else's presence. In Stoicism, this commitment to self-discipline is crucial. It's a reminder that the only actions you control are your own. As you invest in yourself, you'll start to notice a change, not only in how you see yourself, but in how others perceive you. People are naturally drawn to those who are focused, independent, and constantly striving to improve. The energy of personal growth is magnetic. By prioritizing self-improvement, you're not only building your resilience, but also becoming more attractive in a deeply authentic way. Think of your life as a garden. Instead of watering a plant that isn't thriving, redirect that care to your growth. Cultivate new interests, strengthen your mental resilience, and fill your days with activities that bring you joy. This journey to self-growth will reward you far more than any temporary connection ever could. It's essential to remember that the power you're seeking externally already exists within you. The attention and validation you're looking for can be found in the accomplishments and progress you achieve through personal growth. Embracing this inner strength brings lasting fulfillment, unshaken by the fleeting interest or distance of others. So the next time you feel the urge to chase someone who's pulled away, take a step back, recenter. Ask yourself, how can I grow today? Choose progress over pursuit, self-improvement over self-doubt. By investing in yourself, you create a foundation of self-worth and resilience that no one can take from you. 3. Reframe your mindset. Stop seeking validation. It's natural to want validation, especially from people who mean something to us. But there's a truth in Stoic philosophy that reshapes how we look at validation. It teaches us that our value comes from within, not from the opinions or actions of others. Imagine how liberating it would be to reach a place where you don't need approval from anyone else, where your worth isn't dependent on someone's attention or affection. Think about how much of your energy goes into seeking validation. Every time you check your phone for a message that doesn't come, every time you analyze someone's words for hidden meanings, you're handing over your peace to something outside your control. The Stoics remind us that this approach only leads to suffering because it's a chase with no end. By looking inward, you take back that power. Reframing your mindset starts with self-awareness. Ask yourself, why does someone else's opinion hold so much weight? By identifying the root, you begin to unravel the habit of seeking external validation. Embrace the idea that self-worth is something you define. It's something solid, unchanging, and rooted in your values, not in the changing tides of others' behavior. This mental shift is powerful because it gives you control over your happiness and peace. When you seek approval from others, you place your value in their hands. But the moment you recognize that validation is a gift you give yourself, you regain that value. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from independence in thought and emotion. Instead of looking outward, turn inward and ask, what do I think of myself? Let your own opinion be the most important one. This inner work may feel uncomfortable at first because we're so conditioned to rely on others for validation. But as you practice self-approval, you'll find immense strength in realizing that you're enough, just as you are. Your confidence becomes something rooted in resilience, in a stoic calm that doesn't waver with someone else's interest or lack of it. Imagine how empowering it is to enter any situation knowing that your self-worth isn't up for negotiation. Whether people show up or drift away, whether they praise you or stay silent, you remain solid, unaffected, and at peace. This isn't about shutting down or becoming cold. It's about valuing yourself enough to be unshaken by the whims of others. So let go of the need to impress or win approval. Instead, seek to impress yourself with your growth, resilience, and self-respect. Every time you choose inner validation over external praise, you're building a fortress of self-worth, one that no amount of silence or distance can shake. 4. Practice the art of selective detachment. One of the greatest strengths in Stoic philosophy is the power of detachment, not from life itself, but from the things we can't control. When someone distances themselves, it's natural to feel an urge to close that gap, to chase. But the Stoics teach us a different approach. Selective detachment. It's the art of letting go of what isn't within our control and focusing instead on our actions and our peace. This isn't indifference, it's wisdom. It's choosing to care for your well-being above all else. Detachment, in this sense, means understanding that you cannot control another person's choices, actions, or feelings. What you can control, however, is your response. Imagine that distance and silence as space for you to strengthen your resilience. Instead of trying to fill it, let it remain. By allowing that distance, you give yourself the freedom to focus on what truly matters: your growth, and your peace. Selective detachment is a conscious decision. It's the choice to say, I will not let the actions of others dictate my worth. This mindset shift might feel unfamiliar, even challenging, but it's transformative. When you practice detachment, you free yourself from the weight of someone else's opinions, actions, or silence. You're no longer controlled by their behavior. Instead, you control how you respond. You build a life centered on your values, rather than chasing after external validation. The beauty of selective detachment is that it also creates an aura of mystery. When you stop reacting to every pull and push, you become less predictable and more intriguing. People are naturally curious about what they can't fully grasp, and when you create space, you're allowing them to see you in a new light. By not rushing to close the gap, you shift the dynamic. Now, they're the ones wondering, questioning, even missing your presence. This doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're wise enough to know that real connection isn't forced. True relationships grow from mutual respect, not desperation. By practicing selective detachment, you show that your happiness isn't dependent on anyone else's actions. You're anchored in your peace, your strength. Remember, detachment is a process. Each time you resist the urge to seek validation from someone distant, you're reinforcing your resilience. You're proving to yourself that your worth is not determined by how others respond or don't respond. This is inner freedom. This is emotional control, a skill that will guide you far beyond the situation. So the next time you feel that pull to react, take a deep breath. Remind yourself that detachment isn't about coldness, it's about wisdom. You are choosing peace over pursuit, inner strength over uncertainty. This is the path to becoming unshakable. 5. Become an enigma. Embrace mystery. One of the most powerful ways to regain control when someone pulls away is to create a sense of mystery. In Stoic philosophy, there's a profound respect for subtlety, for not revealing everything to everyone. This isn't about playing games, it's about valuing your depth and letting others see only the surface until they've earned a closer look. When you embrace mystery, you allow others to wonder, to question, and ultimately, to respect the boundaries you've set around your life and emotions. Mystery at its core is an invitation. It's an unspoken way of saying, I am whole on my own and I don't need to chase anyone for validation. When you're too available or when you share every detail, you make it easy for others to take you for granted. But by creating a bit of distance, by holding back parts of yourself, you become someone worth knowing, worth discovering. People are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand. So how do you cultivate this mystery? Start by focusing on your own life, your goals, and your personal growth. Dedicate time to things that bring you joy and fulfillment. When your world is full and rich, you won't feel the need to constantly share every moment or seek external validation. This isn't about hiding. It's about protecting what is sacred. It's about letting others see that you're independent and that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else's attention. Being mysterious also means being unpredictable. If someone distances themselves, resist the urge to respond in ways they might expect. Instead of chasing or explaining, simply continue living your life. This shift in focus leaves them curious, wondering what you're up to and why you're no longer chasing. When you embrace mystery, you give yourself the upper hand, allowing them to realize that they can't predict your every move. Remember, the goal isn't to make others chase you. It's to show them that you are valuable and that your time and energy are gifts, not guarantees. Mystery invites respect. It reminds others that you have boundaries, that you are someone with a full life, not just an accessory to someone else's story. In Stoic thought, true power comes from within, from knowing yourself so well that you don't feel the need to prove anything to others. When you become an enigma, you're no longer trying to meet anyone's expectations but your own. You're not concerned with whether someone notices you or not. This independence is magnetic. People notice when you're confident enough to stand alone, when you have a sense of self that doesn't waver based on others' opinions. So, next time someone distances themselves, embrace the mystery. Live your life fully without explaining every detail. Let them wonder. Let them see that you're focused on your journey, on becoming the best version of yourself. This quiet confidence speaks louder than any words ever could. 6. Set new boundaries. When someone distances themselves, it's a perfect opportunity to examine and reset the boundaries in your life. In Stoic philosophy, boundaries are about self-respect. They define what you allow and what you protect. By setting boundaries, you're telling yourself and others that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable. It's a way of saying, I know my worth, and I won't compromise it to keep someone else comfortable. Boundaries are not walls. They're guidelines that help you protect your well-being. If someone has pulled away or chosen silence, use this as a sign to reinforce your own space. Imagine boundaries as a circle around you, one that only those who respect and value you can enter. Setting these boundaries doesn't push others away. It simply shows them that there are limits to your availability and patience. Start by clarifying what you need. Ask yourself, what behaviors make you feel respected, valued, and at peace? Once you know what these are, it becomes easier to communicate them. For example, if someone only contacts you when it's convenient for them, consider stepping back. You're not a backup plan or an option. Establishing boundaries with others often reveals who truly respects your time and who only takes it for granted. Boundaries also involve saying no. This can be difficult, especially if you're used to putting others first. But in Stoic thought, saying no is not selfish, it's self-care. When you protect your time and energy, you're ensuring that you have enough to invest in your growth and goals. By practicing selective engagement, you make it clear that not everyone has access to you on their terms. They must earn that privilege. One powerful boundary is to stop over-explaining. Often when we feel distant, we try to fill the gap by justifying our actions, hoping to be understood. But the truth is, you don't need to explain yourself to everyone. By setting this boundary, you're saying, I trust myself, and I don't need validation to know I'm on the right path. This strengthens your self-worth and lets others know that your choices are intentional and respected. Boundaries are not about forcing others to behave a certain way. They're about showing how you will respond if they don't. If someone doesn't respect your boundaries, then you know they aren't prioritizing your well-being. This clarity allows you to distance yourself without guilt, knowing you've done what's necessary to protect your peace. As you practice boundary setting, you'll notice a shift in how others treat you and how you feel about yourself. People will either rise to meet your boundaries or reveal that they don't belong in your inner circle. This is empowerment. This is control over your own life, regardless of who stays or goes. 7. Focus on building your social circle. When someone distances themselves, it can feel isolating. But Stoic philosophy reminds us that this distance doesn't have to leave a void in our lives. Instead, it's a chance to widen your circle, to connect with people who genuinely respect and uplift you. In Stoicism, relationships built on mutual respect and shared values are seen as vital sources of strength and resilience. This is your invitation to refocus your energy on building connections that nurture your growth and peace. Imagine your life as a garden, with each relationship as a different flower, plant, or tree. When one withers, you don't abandon the whole garden. You nurture what remains and perhaps plant new seeds. Start seeking people who add value, who inspire you, and who make you feel appreciated. These are the people who will stand by you when times are tough, providing the kind of companionship that helps you stay grounded in your values. Expanding your social circle doesn't mean quantity, it means quality. Look for relationships rooted in authenticity, where you're valued for who you are, not what you can do for someone else. When you surround yourself with people who support your goals and respect your boundaries, you'll find yourself feeling stronger, more grounded, and less reliant on anyone's attention or approval. In practical terms, reach out to friends, reconnect with family members, or join a community that shares your interests or values. Engaging with others who inspire you can shift your focus from who's pulling away to who's there, willing to connect on a deeper level. Surrounding yourself with a supportive network acts as a buffer against the impact of one person's absence, reminding you that your worth isn't tied to any one individual. The strength of a social circle is also in shared growth. Connect with those who are also on their paths of self-discovery, personal growth, or Stoic practice. When you're with people who seek resilience and self-improvement, you're naturally inspired to keep investing in your journey. This support network becomes a source of encouragement, reminding you that emotional strength isn't built alone. Building a social circle that supports you is an act of self-respect. By filling your life with people who see your worth, you reinforce your sense of value. You're no longer looking for acceptance from someone who has distanced themselves. Instead, you're surrounded by those who appreciate you for who you are. This circle provides companionship and mutual respect, creating a foundation that brings peace, stability, and strength into your life. So, when someone pulls away, see it as a chance to realign your focus. Seek connections that bring you joy, peace, and purpose. People who distance themselves create space, but you choose how to fill it. Fill it with relationships that uplift you, and watch how your life flourishes. 8. Reclaim your life's narrative. When someone distances themselves, it's easy to feel like you've lost control, like the story of your life is suddenly being written by someone else. But Stoic philosophy teaches us that no one else has the power to define us. You are the author of your own story, and even when people come and go, your journey is yours alone. This chapter in your life doesn't need to revolve around someone's absence. Instead, it can be a turning point, one where you reclaim your narrative and refocus on your goals and aspirations. Imagine seeing yourself as the main character, not a supporting role in someone else's story. When you stop waiting for someone to notice you, to validate you, or to return, you free yourself from their influence over your happiness. You become the hero of your journey, and every decision you make builds toward a future you're proud of. This shift in perspective empowers you to focus on what truly matters to you, on the goals that bring you joy and fulfillment. Reclaiming your life's narrative is a powerful act of self-respect. Start by setting goals that align with your values, whether they're about personal growth, career, health, or relationships. Each small step you take toward these goals is a reminder that your life is yours to shape, and that your happiness isn't tied to anyone else's presence or absence. You're showing yourself that you have a purpose and a direction, and that your worth is defined by your own actions. In Stoic thought, there's a fundamental belief that we find peace by focusing on what we can control. You can't control others, but you can control the path you choose, the energy you invest, and the legacy you build. This mindset not only shifts your focus from what you've lost to what you're building, but also strengthens your resilience against future challenges. You're no longer living reactively, you're living with intent. Every time you feel the pull to dwell on someone's distance, remind yourself of the goals you're working toward. Think of the skills you want to master, the knowledge you wish to gain, and the personal growth you seek. This focus not only grounds you, but also gives you a sense of purpose that extends beyond fleeting connections. With each step, you're proving to yourself that your life is rich, full, and meaningful, regardless of who enters or exits. Taking control of your narrative is about owning your life and choices. It's about refusing to let anyone's actions dictate your happiness. This shift doesn't just protect you, it frees you. When you make decisions that align with your values, you create a life that feels true to who you are. You're no longer defined by the approval of others, but by the courage and consistency of your path. As we wrap up, remember that these steps aren't just about reacting to distance. They're about finding strength in yourself, cultivating emotional resilience, and embracing the peace that Stoic philosophy offers. Each time someone pulls away, see it as an opportunity to grow stronger, deepen your self-worth, and live a life guided by inner purpose rather than external validation. True power lies in mastering your mind and letting go of what you can't control. Thank you for joining me on this journey toward reclaiming inner peace and resilience. If these insights resonate, help us spread Stoic wisdom by liking this video, subscribing to Stoic Narratives Official, and sharing it with friends who are also on their path to personal growth. Together, let's build a community focused on self-respect, personal empowerment, and unshakable strength. Remember, peace begins within, and it grows with every choice you make.